Hello everyone. Today I have for you a game that's coming up on Kickstarter soon. It's a game where you build your spaceship using different engines and parts and roll some dice to get your movement and also use special abilities from the different parts and engines. It's called Lunar 5000. It's by MindBent Ideas and it's coming to Kickstarter soon. So let's go ahead and get it set up on the table and take a look at it. And here we have the prototype for Lunar 5000. So we've got the board set up here in a circuit, but the board is made up of different pieces for the board. You can set it up in a circuit or you can set it up in a straight line. For the sake of space, we've set it up just in a basic circuit like this in a circle. But each piece has a certain amount of spaces. You can see on there, a certain amount of spaces that you're going to move your spaceship while you're racing around. And this isn't the complete parts of the prototype because there's different things you use, because there's a Grand Prix mode where you play a couple games in a row and then you give each other these different sized trophies, and then you use them to keep track of points after you play a certain amount of games, and then you total up whoever has the most points actually wins the Grand Prix circuit. So we're not going to use those, but we've got the basic prototype stuff here. Remember, this stuff can change during the Kickstarter. Yeah, it's just basic prototype pieces. We've also got a bunch of pilots right here. These square blocks that have got different colored pilots. We've got 6 of them. We've got yellow, red, green, and then we've got blue, orange, and purple blocks that show the different pilots on there. And they just got the sides like that. Got those set off to the side because we're not going to need them at the beginning of the game right there. We've got a 6-sided dice that has one of each of the pilots on it. And I'm not sure how this is going to translate into the Kickstarter, if they're going to have an engraved dice or what they're going to have. But this is going to be used to roll. We've got 2 6-sided dice right here for our speed. And then we've got a couple of actual spaceships. We got like this one's number 1 right there. We've got 6 of those because this game is for 2 to 6 players. So we're going to go ahead and get started. First, we're going to go ahead and roll to see who goes first during it's going to be a building of the spaceship part. Because first you build your spaceship, and then you put your spaceship on the board and you're going to race. And the different parts have different abilities that are going to help you during your race. So I'll go ahead and roll right there. I got a 6. Let's see what Gothy gets.
Whoa.
Oh, roll over there.
That's a 3.
That's a 3. Okay, so it looks like I'm going to be building first. So the first thing you do is you're going to deal out engine cards and part cards to the players. Everybody gets 2 engine cards and 2 part cards. And the engine cards are the bigger ones, and they have different abilities on them. Like, see right here, this is a combine engine. Right there, and it tells you that the max parts are increased by 1. So during the building phase, usually you get to build your spaceship with 1 engine and 2 parts, but now you're going to be able to have 3 parts in the engine. You can build 2 of the same part, because usually when you're building your spaceship, all your parts have to be different, but this allows me to have 2 of the same one. And then also when built, you may search the parts deck for a part card and put it into your hand, but you have to shuffle the deck afterwards. But it's got a bunch of different engine abilities, and these colored squares on the top tell you when those abilities happen. The blue is during the build phase. The green, if I remember correctly, it's something that happens immediately, and they're different stuff. They also have these amount of, you can see right there, of rivets on them. The amount of rivets tell you which cards to use during the players of the game. So since we're only going to be playing with 2 players, we use the cards with 2 rivets on them. If we had a third player, like if Sheba was playing with us, we'd use the cards with 3 rivets on them and 2 rivets on them, because it's all the ones plus the ones below it to make a bigger deck for more people. So we shuffle these up. Gothy, if you want to go ahead and give those a quick shuffle while explaining the parts cards. The parts are different stuff that you could add to your spaceship to give you different abilities also. Like this one, they're smaller square parts. We have a fuel pump right here. Fuel pump says rolls of 1s and 2s are doubled. This happens before your engine activates, because all rolls will happen, and then you'll get to finalize your dice, and then you'll move your spaceship. So we got wingtips right here. So if you end your move on the bend... Oh, Sorry, Gothy, I told you. We have to take out all the ones with 2 rivets on them. Because, yeah, that whole stack isn't all of them. So before you start shuffling, take out all the ones with 2 rivets on them. I know. I put them on top beforehand. I know. I should have told you to take those off before shuffling. Anyway. Sorry. Back to the fuel pump. This fuel pump right here. Yeah, rolls of 1s or 2s are doubles. This happens before. Let's say wingtips, that if you end your move on the bend, you get to move to the end of the bend. So, wingtips is pretty good as you're going along. If you end your turn anywhere on the bend, you actually get to move your piece to the end of that bend. So, let's say I had my spaceship, say it was right here, I had landed my turn right there. If I had the wingtips on my spaceship, I'd get to move it all the way here before my turn ends. So there are different ones like that. You got the double seater because your max pilots is increased by 1. Because usually you have a seat for 1 pilot in your spaceship, but some things actually let you increase that, and that's significant because whenever you're rolling and you roll this 6-sided dice with your engine die, which are the regular 6-sided dice, you roll them together. If your pilots come up, you get a pilot bonus, and you get to move 5 extra squares. If it's your turn, and when you roll this dice and somebody else's pilot comes up, after you move, they get to move 1 spot. They get a pilot bonus of 1 spot for it coming up. So that'll all be, we'll go over that as we do it. So I'm going to go ahead and take out all the engine parts right here that have 2 rivets on them. Or not engine parts, sorry, regular parts that have 2 rivets on them. Alright, I'll set all the rest of them aside. Got these shuffling up the engine parts with 2 rivets on them over there. Let's give it a quick shuffle. Yeah, sometimes prototypes are not easy to shuffle, but quick shuffle.
I already have my own difficulties with that.
Yeah, shuffling. Okay, and then at the beginning of the game, everybody starts with 2 engine parts, and you put the deck in the rest of the deck in the middle, and they start out with 5 parts, regular parts each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're basically going to start building our spaceships. Now, each turn we're going to go back and forth, and we can build different parts for a ship, or we can trade in to the decks here if we don't like what we have in our hand. So whenever you're trading in on your turn, you can either trade in 2 of your parts cards to draw 1 card. You go ahead and discard them and draw 1 card off the parts card deck. You can trade in 1 engine piece and 1 parts card to draw a card off the parts deck. I think it's the parts deck if I'm remembering correctly. No, I'm sorry. It's 1 engine piece and 1 parts card to draw an engine card. Or you can trade in 1 engine card for a parts card. And we're going to see a little bit of that as we're going through. Let me check out what engines I have. Yeah, okay. Like that. Let me see if I like my thing. I think I'm not actually going to need to trade in. I think
okay.
I might just, yeah. Okay, so since I rolled 6, I get to go first. So I'm going to start building my spaceship. I'm going to build my engine first. This is the 4-2 flyer right there. It tells me that if I roll a 2, I get to add 4 to my move. If I roll a 4, I get to add 2 to my move. So I'm going to build that as my engine part, and then I will pass over to Gothy to see what she wants to build.
I'm going to build big boosters. Mm-hmm. Rolls of 1 are 6, and then rolls of 2 are 5.
Yeah, so whenever she rolls a 1, it automatically counts as a 6. When she rolls a 2, it automatically counts as a 5 for her movement. Let's see, so it passes back to me. I'm gonna go ahead and build a part. I'm gonna build the wingtips part. I got that in my hand. So if I end my move on the bend, I get to move to the end of the bend. So that'll be my first part for my spaceship. Okay, then you can go.
I'm going to copy and build wingtips myself.
Okay.
So,
my second part, I'm gonna build an alternator right there. And this is a special card because it actually flips. It says, if you roll an even number, you get to move to, and then you spin this card. So I spin the alternator, and the other side says it'll go on to my next turn. When you roll an odd number, you move 1, and then you spin the card back. So it'll keep going like that. So that's my second piece. So my spaceship is built, so I get to choose. And since I'm the first person that's built, I get to put my guy on the board on the starting space right there. And now it passes to Gothy.
I'm going to play the double-seater. Max pilots increased by 1.
Okay, so she actually gets to pick 2 pilots. Because usually, I forgot to do. Whenever you're done building your spaceship, you get to pick your pilot from one of them. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pick the blue pilot for my spaceship, and I'll put it right here with my spaceship. Okay, and then my spaceship's there. So Gothy is done building her spaceship, so she's going to get the number 2. She places it on the starting spot, and then her max pilots are increased by 1, so she'll get her regular pilot, plus she'll get to pick a second pilot for her spaceship, which increases the chances that she'll get that bonus come up on when the dice is rolled.
So I'm going to be purple and red.
So purple and red pilots right there. Now, if she wasn't done, if she still wanted to trade in cards and she wasn't done building, this is one of the advantages to trying to get the best spaceship and parts you can. Since I had already had mine built, let's say that Gothy didn't build hers right there. She didn't put that second part down. Let's say she traded in some cards to draw some more cards. Play would have passed back to me, but since my ship's already built, I would have got to move my guy 1 spot as a head start bonus. And then play would have passed back over to Gothy. Let's say she traded in more cards to search for stuff, and then it passed back to me. I'd get to move my guy up here for another head start bonus and go on. And then she'd finally build hers, and she'd put it there and start. But since we both built the same... We're both on the starting line at the same time. We both got our pilots, so we'll go ahead and throw back in there the parts and engines that we did not use. They'll go back to their respective stacks, and they get set off to the side because we're not going to need those anymore. So, since I built my spaceship first, I get to go first. And basically what that is, you look for any beginning of the turn abilities. I don't think either one of us has any beginning of the turn abilities on our ships. So, it goes to rolling. So you take the 6-sided dice and has all the different pilots on it, and then one of the regular 6-sided dice. I'll use the red one. I like the red one right there. And you go ahead and roll both of those. And remember that if your pilot comes up, you get, on your turn, you get a pilot bonus of 5 spots to move. Now, if another one, or if the other player's pilots come up, they get a bonus of 1. So let's go ahead and roll this. I am the blue pilot, so I'm hoping blue comes up. Oh, no, it's purple. Okay, so you go ahead and you see the dice that have been rolled. We got the purple dice right there, which is one of Gothy's pilots. She'll get to move 1 after I've moved. I've rolled the 6 right here on the red die. I go ahead and look at my spaceship's abilities, that if I roll a 2, I get to add 4 to my movement. If I roll a 4, I get that 2, so that doesn't apply. If I end my move on a bend, that part doesn't apply. But right here, my alternator said if you roll an even number, move 2, and then spin this card. So I automatically get to do that with the alternator. So I apply the ability of my part. I get to move 2, and I'll spin my card around right there. So now next, if I roll an odd number, I'll have to move 1. I don't get any pilot bonus because my pilot did not come up, but I get to move the number that's on my movement die. I get to move 6 right there. So I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now my wingtips actually does trigger. Since I ended my move on the bend, I get to move to the end of the bend. So he will actually move to that last spot there. And now my movement is done. Gothy gets to move her 1 for the pilot coming up. Right there, that's her movement bonus.
I'm gonna get you.
Yeah, you're catching up. Slowly but surely. And then we go ahead and see if there's any end of turn abilities, which I don't think either one of us has any end of turn abilities. No. So then play will pass to Gothy, and she will get to roll at the start of her turn. Oh,
I got purple.
Yeah, there you go. So she rolled the purple pilot on the dice, and she rolled a 3.
So I'm going to move for the purple.
Nope. She has to apply her pilot thing.
3, 5, right?
Yeah. So she moved her 5 for her pilot bonus. So do your cards have any abilities?
Just the wingtips.
Just the wingtips?
But I'm still moving for the die roll.
Okay, so yeah. So the actual pilot die she locked in.
1, 2, 3.
Okay.
And my wingtips don't apply because I'm already at the end of the bend.
Yeah, you're already at the end of the bend. You can't go any further on that bend. Okay. Then play would pass it back to me. I'm going to roll... See? Oh, I actually rolled the blue. Yeah. So you'll see I got a 3 on my pilot die right there. So since if I roll an odd number on my alternator, I get to move 1 and then spin this card. So I do my parts ability right there, spin my alternator back over to the other side. My engine ability doesn't matter, and wingtips probably don't matter, but we'll see. I get my pilot bonus of 5 squares, plus my 3 right here from the die roll. So that's 8 total squares I'm going to be able to move. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold on, yeah. 5, 6, 7, 8. And then my wingtip, since I'm on a bend, I get to move to the end of the bend right there. And then no end of turn abilities, so it'll move to Gothy.
So my 1's automatically going to be a 6 because of my big boosters.
Yeah, her engine ability automatically changes that 1 to a 6.
And then neither one of us are yellow, so that doesn't do anything.
Exactly.
So I'll just move the 6.
Mm-hmm.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm in the bend now, so I get to move through it because of my wingtips.
Yep, to the end. And that's your basic gameplay for Lunar 5000. So let's go ahead and get to the review. So Lunar 5000 is a really good roll and move game. It's got some good cards, the good abilities on it for the different engines, different parts you can use for your spaceship, with the drafting of the pieces and everything interchanging. I wish that there was a way that possibly you could trade parts between players rather than just with the deck, but it seems to work pretty well. We played it a couple different ways with a couple different players, and we've had fun in every single game. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. It'll be on Kickstarter here coming up in a couple weeks. It's called Lunar 5000 by MindBent Ideas. Thank you for watching Logan Chops Reviews. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go ahead and hit the little bell to get notifications of whenever we post up new videos. Make sure you check out our Facebook page. It's Logan Chops Reviews, obviously. And follow us on Twitter at Logan Chops, and also Instagram at Logan Chops Logan_Chops_Reviews, where we post up random pictures of our cats, us, different conventions and shows that we go to, and also the games as we play them. And we'll see you next time.